right, welcome everyone to the Frantic Nerdcast, episode 55. We are notching our way up there towards the century, not too far away.
We're not Facebook. We didn't start off as the Frantic Nerdcast. We're just Frantic Nerdcast, mate.
Mate, we're getting there, and we deserve the now.
I have to say,
we're up there with the Google.
We're making great strides as well.
That's what my dad calls it, the Google.
The Google.
We're on the internet.
Yep. The COVID was kicking around a little while ago. The COVID's going to get you.
The means you've made it. So we are the Frantic Nerdcast.
Okay.
All right, on to the real things. Let's go.
How is everyone? I hope you've had a good week, guys. Thank you very much for returning and watching and listening to us ramble on with shit as always.
I mean, you wouldn't have it any other way, would you?
That's it, yeah. So
how else would you spend your weekend?
How's everyone's week been?
Poor timing to have a drink there. No, it's been good. It's been busy and not busy at the same time. I'm off at the minute, so I'm looking after the little one, which is awesome. We get to spend a bunch of time together. But I've also been kicking around at home, just knocking off some chores. One of said chores was fixing my 3D printer. 3D printers, I love and hate them. You get them going and you're like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. Like you're going along, you get a print, and then you get something off the bed and you're just like, what the fuck happened to you? And you're like, okay, well, I'll just try it again. Okay, you have done the exact same fucking thing. I love 3D printing. This is great. Okay, so then you re-level it, you do another print and it doesn't fucking work. So then you've got to clean it, you got to fucking replace parts.
My resin printer actually came up with a little thing yesterday when I went to print something. It came up and said, your FEP sheet has had X amount of pulls on it. It's time to replace it.
Oh, nice.
I was like, fuck yeah, look at that. That's what you get for paying money for a 3D printer.
So I replaced my FEP sheet the other week. That's the first one that I've had to replace. I probably should have replaced a bit earlier, but anywho, it was still going all right. The first attempt, I managed to nick the new one that was going in.
I've done that multiple times.
So when I came out, I'm like, my resin reservoir is a little bit empty. That print's a little bit fucked. I didn't think it was going to take that much. And how come that much resin is? Oh, it's on the floor. And I had to pull apart the printer and give it a little bit of a clean.
Zach, for you who doesn't understand what the fuck we're talking about.
No, this is good because I'm so this week in my tech guru-ness at school, I'm teaching Tinkercad design for 3D printing to some Year 6 students. So we have a 3D printer and I'm ready to realise how fucking hard they are to use.
Well, so modern 3D printers, if you spend a bit of money on them, you're pretty good because they, like my Creality one over there, it basically out of the box works. It auto levels itself, does everything itself. It's phenomenal. All you got to do is put the filament in, off you go. Even Wi-Fi enabled, so you can send it via the computer. You send your print over. You don't have to SD card your fucking shit and all that.
Wonderful.
Oh, that's the other thing that shits me is that my SD card on my filament printers just stopped fucking reading. So I need to.
The school one we have is USB. I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah, so that's phenomenal. Whereas like your cheaper ones, like your little Ender 3s and stuff, which is what most people have and what most things copied.
That's what I have.
You got to level the bed yourself and all that kind of stuff.
The school has one which I just found out the other week. Hence why I'm like, oh, let's do some 3D printing at school, and I'm like, waiting to find out what condition it's in and things like that. So I should see all that on Monday. Yeah,
and then your resin ones. So basically, the way they work, they've got a little vat, and on the bottom of the vat's a clear piece of like acetate style paper, kind of thing, acetate like clear acetate, and that's your FEP sheet. And basically, what happens is when your print goes down, it touches that, cures the part of the resin where it's touching kind of thing, and then lifts up it. But as it lifts up, it pops off and stretches it. So after a while, your FEP sheet gets stretched and it stops printing properly, or it can get holes in it and shit leaks everywhere.
Yeah, it's great when that happens.
Yeah.
But then it leaks everywhere and cures underneath it on the actual screen. So then you got to sit there and get rubbing alcohol and like kind of try and crack it off without scratching your screen.
I was so lucky that where I did the nick, it was like at the edge of the reservoir. So it's leaked and just gone down the crack of the screen. So it's only inside the machine. So I was lucky from that regard, but it was still a fucking pain.
Well, I know I was talking about it at home with Lisa and she's like, oh, maybe that sounds interesting. So there's a slim chance I might be getting myself 3D printer.
I was going to say you've purchased one already.
She's like, how much are they? I'm like, oh, like anything, they could be cheap or they could be really expensive depending on the quality you want.
Yeah, you buy the fairly priced ones.
I think I would because that would be just make life easier for me.
My guys over there, they are the FDM one, which is the bottom one, which is your like CNC style one, filament. It's it was 900, I think, and then the resin one was like 600.
Yeah, well, as you said, and for something like this where it can be very complicated, I'd rather spend a few extra dollars and make it less complicated if that was possible. So
I think it's been good having the complicated factories because you learn a lot more about it.
My first 3D printer was way back in the day when they were new things, and there were no companies actually selling them.
Yeah.
You had to sort of build them yourself. It was made out of MDF bits and stuff, and
I remember that.
It was a pile of shit, but it printed a couple of times.
Yeah.
I think that one's about my 6th or 7th printer.
Yeah, right. Slight rambling.
So that's what you've been up to this week. What about you, Zach?
Dealing with a corked leg, which is pretty unfun. Other than that, I watched a bit of TV and got back into some League of Legends with some mates. So it's been pretty good and enjoying yelling at everyone online.
Oh, nice. I've pretty much been watching anime, reading mangas. I got a new car, which was very exciting.
It's a very shiny car.
It's very fucking big.
It's very big.
It's parking. It's a lot of fun, especially when you still got that brand new car mentality of like, I don't want to scratch it or anything.
Is it a big enough mentality where it's like the shop door is there, but I'm going to park on the other side of the car park because there's no one there?
It's you're finding a nice park that you're not too close to people.
He's going to walk.
The car's staying in the driveway. I'm not fucking driving there. That's fuck that shit. I've just been, new car, watching anime, all that, working on some games, some 3D models and stuff, and that's about me my week so far.
On the way here, I picked up a ChinaCast order, which I'm thrilled about. So I'll be painting some demons in my future, so I'm looking forward to it. Plus a Wonder Woman.
Beautiful.
Got to paint that Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let's get into some news and rumours. First piece of news and rumour, found out this morning at the time of recording this, which is the 27th of February, Michelle Trachtenberg sadly passed away.
Yeah.
Most people will know her from Buffy and Gossip Girl, but she will forever be the twin out of Eurotrip for me. So it's very sad. Apparently, she had a fair few demons, etc., etc. But
I had a little bit of a read as well because I stumbled across it this afternoon. Apparently, she had a liver operation of some kind, like within the last couple of weeks, and actually, apparently, there were some complications from that, which have potentially played into it. Because, because
as of this time, there's no cause.
Correct. They don't know. She was just found in her apartment.
And then. Literally,
20 minutes
before recording this episode, we found out that Gene Hackman
has passed
away along with his wife and his dog. No cause said, but that kind of sounds something like a gas leak or something like that to me, or some form of food poisoning or something.
Yeah, so a bit of a sad, sad day. And
so Lex Luthor gone.
Yep, pretty much, it sucks.
Yeah, well, Lisa and I were only just watching a movie of his on the weekend, an oldie but a goldie, The Birdcage, with where Robin Williams is the...
Fuck, that is a good movie.
Yeah, Robin Williams is the owner of a drag club, and him and his partner, Nathan Lane, has to convince Gene Hackman, who is the in-law of his son's...
And he's a senator.
Yeah, senator, very conservative senator, dealing with already a scandal in his party, so the fact that his daughter is dating someone with drag parents is not going to go down well.
It's quite possibly one of my top 10 movies for sure.
I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, it is.
I had so seen fun. And
it's got what's his name?
Nathan Lane.
Hank Azaria.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Who does nearly every voice in fucking Simpsons.
Yeah.
He plays the butler,
right?
Who's like a Mexican,
Venezuelan,
sort of butler, but he severely over the top gay, but he's trying to pretend to be like the straight butler and stuff.
Okay.
It's he's just so funny.
So some of the elements probably haven't aged very well.
No. Well,
it's kind of all it does because it's that Miami gay culture from that time.
Sure.
And not being gay or from Miami, not sure if that's what the culture still is like.
Okay.
But back in that day, I'm pretty sure that's what the culture was kind of.
But and like obviously still dealing with people having to hide their true selves to like with people that have that conservative viewpoint. But
I think it's either based on a book or a stage play.
I think it was a book.
A book, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's very funny. And yeah, great movie. Everyone should watch it.
I'll add it to that ever-growing list.
All right, so let's get into some rumors. Who's got something?
Well, apparently Supernatural stars Jared Padalecki and Misha Collins are joining the cast of The Boys for the final season.
Old news.
Okay, then, sorry.
Yeah, Jared's playing the Thor character. I'm not sure who Misha's playing, though.
No idea.
But I know, yeah, Jared's playing the Thor replacement character.
Apparently, Marvel Studios has put Nova, Terra Inc. and Strange Academy on hold.
Yeah, I've been getting served so many of these fucking stupid, annoying. Oh, Henry Cavill's in Marvel. It's just like it's gotten to the point now. I'm like,
it's hard to
just go away. None of this is real, and you're all just clickbaiting bullshit. And I've gotten to the point where I'm just fucking sick of it.
Yeah, and there's that many like fan art AI like movie scripts and things. This has been confirmed coming out. I'm like, no, it hasn't.
They're pretty funny, some of those.
Some of them are wild, but yeah.
All right. DC has officially announced a brand new crossover with Harley Quinn and Elvira, Mistress of Dark.
I had that one. That was that looks really cool.
I'm very excited for this because I love Harley Quinn, as everyone knows. And Elvira is amazing.
So, on the note of DC, there's actually been a comic crossover event announced between Marvel and DC that's meant to be coming up soon.
What,
as well.
another amalgam?
They haven't said anything or I haven't found anything other than there is a DC and Marvel comic crossover coming up.
The one I saw was effectively there'll be two editions: Marvel with DC and DC with Marvel.
I did see that.
For those of you who don't know, way back in the day, they did a crossover. They did Marvel versus DC comic, and then they did the amalgamation universe, where they took similar characters from each universe and smashed them into single characters. Okay. So yeah, Batman mixed with Wolverine. He was called Darklaw, who was fucking amazing. Yep. He basically was Wolverine, but in a Batman outfit. Like it had the things from Wolverine.
I'm down for that.
His nemesis was the Hyena, which was Sabretooth and Joker.
Oh yeah,
crossed over. Then you had Superman mixed with Captain America, who was
Captain Boring.
He was pretty good. You had Wonder Woman mixed with
Marvel.
Nah,
Captain Marvel. Sorry.
Fuck, who was it? I can't remember who Wonder Woman was crossed with.
I haven't actually read any of them.
Then there were a whole people on. You had like Spider-Man and Superboy mixed together. There were heaps of them. Yeah, sure. And then they had multiple, it was like one-off issues. And they all had their own issues, but they were really, really good. And you can find them online. Yeah. But yeah, I have the Darklaw comic sitting around somewhere, but it wasn't a direct edition. Sure. It was like an Australian reprint one.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so I look forward to that, and hopefully they do more amalgam.
Yeah. Zach?
Isn't it you?
No, I just did mine. All this spin off from that.
Oh, okay. All good. All right. Well, so with Daredevil coming back into the MCU, Marvel's reportedly exploring bringing back Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist.
Yep.
I did see that. I think that was mentioned a while back. But
I'm all for it.
It's getting more and more official.
I like it. Even Iron Fist was definitely the worst of the lot, but I enjoyed it. And I like the Defenders as well.
Fairness to him, it was horribly written, which was one of the big issues. It wasn't well written. It was miscast, really, but it wasn't well written.
No,
especially when you had the first season of Luke Cage, which was fucking phenomenal.
First season of Jessica Jones 2 was brilliant.
Yeah, the first two seasons of Jessica Jones were good, but the first season, like once David Tennant's gone, you're kind of like, that's my favorite role he's ever done, and that's saying something considering I'm a fucking massive Doctor Who fan.
And yeah, an extension of that, they're actually looking to do and release a Punisher special with John Bernthal.
Yes.
So I don't know what it's going to be.
I saw it was going to be like a one-off.
Yeah, it's just a special
special feature. Is that what it's called?
A special something.
Yeah, I'd say it'd be
not a spotlight. Not that. It's just one of those like one-off little special features they do like half an hour or something.
No, it's
the
what
Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special was. It's one of those.
Yeah, it was what the Man-Thing one was, the Werewolf by Night.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those sort of things.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, I just assumed it'd be like a 45 minutes to an hour sort of episode thing.
Yeah. I can't remember if we've spoken about this before, but we might have. Hancock 2 looking to be in the works.
I've seen a lot of this.
And we have spoken about it, but it was kind of semi-just... it could be happening, but now I've seen rumors where it's closer to happening.
Yeah, and apparently Zendaya's earmarked to be in it as well. So
why does Zendaya have to fucking be in everything?
Because she does.
She's the new thing, mate.
Yeah, I know, but she's not that great an actor.
Tell her that.
She does the same. I'm trying to take a shit face in everything.
To be fair, she was. I only seen snippets of it, but there was one where she's a young Euphoria. She was the bits and pieces in that. I thought she was. I didn't
love that show. I mean, Sydney Sweeney. Yeah, I watched it for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I actually saw a list of highest paid actors, female actors, and Zendaya was at the top, and I think she got.
She was at the top.
She was at the top for something.
Look at some of the roles she's been in.
And then Millie Bobby Brown was second. She got 10 million or something for Enola Holmes too. Right. Fucking 10th place was Anna Taylor-Joy.
Right.
She got 1.9 million for Furiosa.
Wow. Okay.
Which just, out of all the actors that were on it, was like Sydney Sweeney, Anna de Armas, all that kind of stuff. But out of all the actors that were on it, she was by far the most talented out of any of them.
Yeah.
Okay. And she was the least paid.
Well, there you go.
So
get a better agent.
No, it's just people like, it goes kind of like Sydney Sweeney. Like, she's an okay actor, but there's two reasons why she's so popular.
Yeah.
You know,
pretty much. It doesn't need to be said. Zach was waiting for it. It doesn't need to be said.
They are, but
this is a quick one. Dune Messiah has begun pre-production. So that's Dune 3.
Saw that.
Dune 2, but it's Dune the third Dune movie. Because the part 1 and part 2 of the first movie.
One that I think you two will enjoy if this is true. Nickelodeon is developing a new Avatar sequel series called Seven Heavens.
It is 100% true because the video of the...
Seven Havens.
Of the actor.
Seven Havens, you are right.
I shared it with you. It was the video of the voice actor from... the female voice actor and the male voice actor from the second... show, whatever the fuck it was called, Legend of Korra.
Well, so this will follow on as the next Avatar after Korra, and the series will consist of 26 half-hour episodes spread over 2 seasons.
And it's sort of based in the downfall of Earth after Korra fucked it up.
Pretty much.
At the end of... Spoilers for
Earthbending twins.
Yeah. And like I really like the concept because I spoke about it a little bit with that video that you shared, and like the idea is that the Avatar is no longer the hero that he is always expected.
Yeah, they're shunned kind of thing because of what Korra did.
Yeah, so basically Korra is completely fucked it. No longer the savior of all the kingdoms, but the destroyer of the kingdom. So I think that's a really interesting concept, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. And just before you start, just to jump on your Dune one, apparently Jason Momoa is coming back for Dune Messiah.
Okay, so anyone who's read Dune or seen the specials knows that this happens.
So it's not a shock that...
His character comes back in every book. He's essentially a clone, and he's in every book over a 10,000-year period.
As long as Jason Momoa plays all the time, I'm okay.
Yeah, so he's a clone. He comes back. He gets it on with Paul's sister, who is Anna Taylor-Joy in the sequel. They sort of fall in love and stuff, but he's a clone, and essentially he comes back in every book.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Jeremy...
Spoilers.
Jeremy Allen White is now one of the top names being considered to star in Luca Guadagnino's... I'm pretty sure I fucked that up. Sergeant Rock movie for DC Studios because of Daniel Craig's exit.
Okay, I don't know who he is.
Yeah, you do. Bear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Didn't know that was his name.
That is his name.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I think I saw that. Didn't know who he was or who the character was, so I just ignored it.
So people would know him from The Bear and also Shameless.
Yep.
He's pretty big in Shameless. But I mean, it's an interesting recast for the fact that it was Daniel Craig down to Jeremy Allen. I mean, just straight off the bat, there's 30 years
But I mean,
age difference
he's
between
also
them.
won a lot of awards lately through the Bear.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not... It's just an interesting difference between the two actors.
I think Craig's
to go into that.
After Bond, Craig's kind of just gotten into that thing of, I just want to do what's fun now.
Oh, 100%.
I've done my massive thing. He's probably got a shit ton
I
of
think
money
he's going to do
nowadays.
there's another Knives Out coming.
There is another Knives Out coming out. I think it's this year it comes out.
No idea.
But yeah. The movie we talked about maybe 2 weeks ago, Niza 2, which is a Chinese film. It was the first film to ever break 1 billion in a single box office. It's a CGI animated film. I still haven't watched it yet, but I want to. The trailer looks fucking amazing. It is now tracking to be the first ever animated film to pass $2 billion.
Wow.
Which is Inside Out. That mark's held by Inside Out 2 as well for anyone who didn't
And
know.
I can imagine that would still mainly be in the Chinese market.
Oh, 100%. It hasn't aired in Australian market, so it's not. It hasn't been redubbed or anything.
I'd say there'd be a few maybe like Chinese theaters. I'm assuming somewhere in like America and stuff.
I imagine it's probably been released in like South Korea and sort of those sort of areas. Maybe Japan. But
still,
any Western sort of cinemas and stuff, I can't imagine too many.
No.
There'd be specialty cinemas sort of showing it, but it's not widespread. I know that much.
Yeah.
But I want to watch it.
Yeah, no, sounds like it'd be a fun watch. I've got a few DC ones just to smash out. James Gunn has confirmed the new release schedule, so there'll be 2 live action films a year, 1 animated film a year, 2 live action series a year, and 2 animated series for Max each year.
I saw this. James Gunn, mate. I know you watch the show on YouTube. So just talking to you. Let's just push in a little bit. Learn from Marvel's mistake. No.
Yeah.
No.
I think...
Imagine if we got a reply from him. That'd be fucking awesome.
I think it's falling into the trap, but it's also one of those things where they're getting hounded. He's a guy who's getting hounded with all these sorts of questions. So he'll give answers. And he's sort of expected to give answers.
And this is the problem.
I would love if he just said, "Yeah, we're doing stuff." That'd be so much better.
And that's my problem I had with the original DC Extended Universe was I think they rushed too fast to catch up to what Marvel was doing.
They 100%.
They should have done their own thing.
Yeah, so I don't mind if you're going to have your own Justice League eventually and have their version of Avengers and those sorts of grand scale movies, but give each character its time to breathe, just like they did with Captain America and Thor.
He said
things.
6 years. At the end of 6 years, they'll have like an end game style event, which will be Crisis on Infinite Earths, obviously.
But even
that's
then,
their biggest event.
Yeah, I don't think they'll kick off with that straight up. I think he'll be looking further. So
6 years. 6 years.
I still think he'll be looking further.
What was the time frame from
10,
the first
10 years.
Iron Man or whatever it was to Endgame?
10 years. 10 years was Infinity Wars.
You can take your time. If you're telling the story correctly, you can take your time. All right, the next one is Charlie Cox wants to play the Joker in the DCU, apparently. Who's Daredevil?
I've also seen that he wants to play Professor X.
Yeah.
He just wants to play everything.
Yeah.
And DCU James Gunn again says Robert Pattinson's Batman is not DCU, which we knew that already.
That's been said
been
multiple
bouncing
fucking
around,
times.
Yeah. An Extraction spin-off series is in the works. Extraction is the one with
Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth.
So a couple of really good films. It'd be awesome to see a spin-off.
If you get the chance,
Got Omar Sy going to play, who played Lupin.
Yep.
if you get the chance, go onto YouTube and there's a behind the scenes of the first one, and it shows the Wunner, how they built the Wunner in the first movie, the one single shot sort of thing. It has cuts in it, but they're hidden cuts. But it shows you how they filmed it. The scene where it's in the car and like it's chasing him and stuff, that's the director strapped to the boot of a car holding the camera.
Commitment, love it.
Yeah,
It's mental. And just because he's a stuntman.
Yeah.
The director was a stuntman. But yeah, watching the making of that one shot in that is phenomenal. It's on YouTube. I think it's like half hour long.
Yep.
It's great. Highly recommend it.
I have to have a gander.
This one, I hope to God is true because it would work so well.
So it's probably not true.
Yep. Margot Robbie is interested in playing Emma Frost. from X-Men, the White Queen.
Ooh, I could see it.
Yeah, it's just like
I don't know who that character is, but Margot
she was
Robbie could play anything like that.
She was in the X-Men. Matthew Vaughn's X-Men. What was it called? The first X-Men Origins.
First Class.
First Class. She was in First Class. It was the chick from Mad Men that played her. Essentially, she is a telepathic person who was the head of the Hellfire Club. She's a baddie. Her powers that she's as mentally strong as Jean Grey, as a telepath. But she can also turn her skin into diamonds. And eventually she becomes a goodie. And when Jean Grey dies, she becomes a goodie. She ends up running school and ends up dating Cyclops.
Cool.
And then there's 3 kids who are essentially clones of her or something, but they're triplets or something. The Cuckoos, they're called. I can't remember, but they're like they're very much her, and they end up becoming phoenixes and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, so Margot Robbie apparently is interested, and she would fit that role perfectly.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, I've got one that you guys might have said before, but with how successful the Acolyte was, Mia Malkova came out and said she'd been in much better Star Wars films than that, or TV shows. For those that don't know, I found that funny. And then something more local to home. There's a rumor that the soft drink Lift is coming back, but trademarked as Fanta.
I didn't know it was gone.
Neither did I.
I saw it again, found it interesting. So moving on.
There you go.
Okay, this is a pretty cool one. Power Rangers. Hasbro has signed a new partnership with game developer Saber Interactive, responsible for Warhammer 40k, Space Marine 2, and the 2019 remasters of Ghostbusters.
Fuck yes.
Video game is currently working on AAA video game based on one of Hasbro's tentpole IP. So
I will buy a console to play that motherfucker.
That'd be sick.
Sounds amazing.
That'd be sick.
White Chicks 2 in the works. Marlon Wayans confirms that they'll bring it out after Scary Movie 6.
Yep.
I'm very interested to see how this gets made in today's day and age.
Because it's one of those movies where it's like, I don't know how that would be made today, and then they're coming out with a sequel.
It's like, you look at the original one, you're like, I understand when it was made. Yep. Yes. Nowadays, it's just not.
I think
like Tropic Thunder.
I think it barely worked when they made it. It can get away with it now because it's a sequel, so people know what it's based on at that time frame. But still, I'm like, I'll be very interested to see what happens.
The Wayans brothers are very fucking smart.
Oh yeah, and they're also very. We don't give a fuck what people think.
Correct. And so whatever they bring out, I think it's going to fucking hit. I think it'll be great.
Well, all you got to do is look at their sketch show from back in the day. What was it called?
No idea.
I can't remember. But it's what gave Jim Carrey his break.
Oh, really?
And it was like a Saturday Night Live-ish style weekly comedy show. And pretty much no one wanted to hire Jim Carrey. And this cast was an all-black cast. And they're like, this dude is fucking amazing. Saturday Night Live turned him down. And they was like, we'll take him. And they made him fucking amazingly famous.
Well, there you go.
And then they took, there's lots of sketches on that show. It's like, that don't work now.
There's a lot of sketches from back then.
There's even one that I watched a little interview with them, and they like, this is the only one that we had to remove from air on reruns.
Yeah, right.
And we kind of look at it now and we're like, oh, what were we thinking? And it had to do with like drugging a woman and taking advantage of her and stuff. And
so that's
it's kind of like, ooh.
I got 2 for Deathstroke. So apparently James Gunn and Peter Safran confirmed Matthew Orton, who did Operation Finale and Moon Knight, is writing the script for Deathstroke and Bane.
And there was an actor.
And the actor is confirmed or rumored to be playing is Henry Golding. Is rumored to be playing Deathstroke.
He was
the only movie that jumps to mind is the Christmas movie where he plays the dead guy with Daenerys. He's been in a bunch of stuff.
He was also the lead in Snake Eyes. The G.I. Joe.
Yeah, that's the one. He was. He's in the Crazy Rich Asians.
Yes, he's also in that.
Yeah, he's the main actor in that. You.
So Rocksteady's working on a Batman Beyond game, likely as a PlayStation exclusive and the foundation for a new trilogy. So staying in the Arkham verse more or less, or an extension of that. Going straight to Batman Beyond. I think that'd be sick.
Yeah, I saw some. I saw this post up multiple times.
Yeah, I think there's a few Batman games in the work at the moment.
Yes. I do like Batman Beyond. The cartoon was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Marvel is bringing together two of its most iconic heroes in Spider-Man and Wolverine for an ongoing series written by Mark Guggenheim. That would be pretty cool.
Nailed it.
Yep. Nailed it.
Well, since it's only fair that James Gunn is coming under all the flack, apparently Deadpool co-creator Rob Liefeld calls for Kevin Feige's removal after the flop of Captain America.
He can shut the fuck up. You created Deadpool, but Deadpool's also a fucking rip-off of Deathstroke. So, did well. And
they
apparently...
just gave him a mouth.
No, apparently it's... he didn't get invited to the Deadpool and Wolverine.
There's been a couple things kicking around where
and stuff, and he's salty, apparently.
Yes. Who said that one? You
Me.
did. Okay, I'll knock over a couple. Stephen King reveals that he is writing on Mike Flanagan's adaptation of The Dark Tower.
Okay, so that'll be ready tomorrow.
Yep.
Taking 3 days to write it.
Yep, pretty much.
In between his 8 other books he's writing at the moment, which will be out in 2 days.
Exactly. Predator Badlands will be told from the perspective of the Predator.
I've heard that, and I look forward to that fact.
I think that'll be
When's
sick.
the next one coming out? It's soon, isn't it?
It's this year. I know it's this year.
There's two, because there's 2 coming out this year.
It's no. There's the movie and the anthology series.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Which was an animation, I think.
I think it was animated. Yeah, it was like animatrix style.
Yeah. All right. Seeing as it's quiet over there, I'll go one more.
You said you're doing multiple, so
that's fair. So we had My Adventures with Superman, which came out in the last couple of years. They're doing My Adventures with Green Lantern as well.
There's another one.
Yeah.
There was 2 I saw.
I didn't see the other one.
Yeah, it was
the Superman one, it was really good, like a different perspective and whatnot, and watching a little more focused on Clark Kent rather than Superman and work in the background and stuff. I'd be keen to see the Green Lantern one as well.
A company named Zoop are releasing the Xenoscope Unbound, a Xenoscope-themed deck builder card game.
Nice.
So Xenoscope is the company that do the Grim Fairy Tales comic books, which is taking all the Grim Fairy Tale versions and telling those stories generally with extremely attractive women.
Nice.
And they did the Escape from Wonderland series, which is fucking phenomenal. So they're doing a deck builder with all the art on it. Looks fucking awesome. You can go on their website and you can pre-support for $1, and you get a booster pack if you back the Kickstarter.
Sure. I think that'd... I think that would be a good one just to collect from the artistry that'll go into it. Like
the art in it looks fucking amazing.
Yeah, I think that'd be sick.
And then also DC Absolute Universe, which is the ones we've been talking about recently with the Batman, blah, blah, blah. They're going to prepare for a major crossover event that will capture fans' imaginations. Writer Jeff Lemire, spearheading the upcoming Absolute Flash, revealed that top creators including Scott Snyder, Jason Aaron, Kelly Thompson, Denise Camp, and Al Ewing are holding weekly online meetings to build a carefully planned crossover. The event that is set to begin at the end of Absolute Flash #1 and will continue with the free comic book day special on May 3rd.
Nice. No, I'm pretty keen for that because that's awesome. Like I was wondering whether they would keep them as sort of their own little like absolute sections, like a Batman, a Wonder Woman, and a Superman, and whatever. I'm really glad that they are doing some form of... I think the way that the stories are being told individually so far, I think the way that they would come together would be pretty sweet. Yeah,
it's going to be good.
They are an awesome read.
And I've got one more. Plaid Hat Games, who are a game company who release some really amazing games. They've got a game called Ashes, which is a card game. It's sort of the living card game model where you don't have to buy booster packs or anything. You just buy the deck and it comes with all the cards. And it released in a really interesting one where they released actual pre-built decks that you bought, and you could just play with that deck if you wanted, and then you could mix all the decks up and create your own decks.
Right.
The game sort of died, and Plaid Hat stopped releasing it. But then the guys from The Covenant, which is a really good TCG YouTube channel, sort of got with them and supported it to a more print and play, like a more print on demand version where they sort of organised all the shipping and stuff and sort of brought it back to life. But it's their 10-year anniversary this year of the game, and they're releasing a new starter set called Ascendancy, which will be on Kickstarter soon, and it looks really nice.
Okay.
All right, my last one. So Tom Holland has reportedly come out and said that the Target staff wouldn't sell him his own non-alcoholic beer.
I saw this because he didn't have an
he couldn't prove his age.
He had a British ID and they wouldn't accept his British ID.
So it just goes to show that Doctor Strange's spell has worked too well.
I did see that.
That's great.
Before we move on, I just want to do a shout out. So I've been looking at the latest statistics for the podcast. So this isn't the YouTube, it's just the podcast.
Yep.
So around 50% of our listenership is Australia, which is expected.
Thank you very much, people.
But we're starting to spread out across the world. So we've got 22% of our listenership is from the United States.
Cool.
Then we've got around 10% from Ukraine.
Right.
7% from Canada. 5% in Japan. 2% in Brazil, and 1% in the United Kingdom.
Marvelous.
Yeah, that's just for this last month.
I was going to say, yeah. Okay. Oh, awesome. Thanks for listening in.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening from around the world. Reach out. Let us know if there's anything you want us to have a chat about, or just fucking whatever. Say hello. We like that. It's fun. Keep sharing it.
Yeah, share it around with your mates and spread the word.
Yeah, 100%.
The more frantic, the better.
Exactly. All right. What are we going to talk about now?
Something that my little... that's right. I pulled a Zac. The volume wasn't up.
At least it was plugged in.
Hey, that's spreading. I sent you the link that someone here in Australia did a podcast and recorded the whole 30 minutes of it until he realised his mic wasn't plugged in.
I have done that doing a YouTube video before, and like the thing was moving and stuff, but it just didn't record it for some reason. I got to the end and played back and went, oh. And start again.
Oh, at least you did it again.
Okay, so on to some comic news. So, Brock, why don't you start us off with your little
cool.
bit you wanted to chat about?
So, I mentioned it last week. I stumbled across a graphic novel called Kalevala. Now, it just the cover piqued my interest. It's got an awesome cover and whatnot. And then when I looked into it a little bit more, it had a really cool adaptation that it's come from. So basically it is based on the Kalevala, which is a 19th century compilation of epic poetry compiled by Elias Lönnrot. I guarantee you I got that wrong. From Karelian and Finnish oral folklore and mythology. It tells a story about the creation of Earth, describing controversies and retaliatory voyages between the people of Kalevala and Venoila, the land of Pohjola, and their various protagonists and antagonists, as well as the construction and robbery of a mythical wealth-making machine called the Sampo. And it's said to have more or less been an inspiration, or at least a place where a lot of writers have gone to for ideas on their workings. One of the more prominent ones being J.R. Tolkien and his Middle-earth realm, where we know Lord of the Rings and whatnot comes from. So that all piqued my interest very, very much. So I thought, you know what, fuck it, I am going to have a look at it. So the story, it tells adventures of a wizard, Väinämöinen, warrior, Lemminkainen.
Is he a wizard, Harry?
He is a wizard, that's what I said. And the blacksmith, Ilmarinen, and other larger-than-life characters seeking love, riches, magic in faraway lands of the ancient north. So there's 2 volumes. They're written in a way that is kind of jumpy, in my opinion, the way that sort of tells a story and whatnot. I enjoyed Volume 2 much more than Volume 1 as a whole, just because Volume 2 just seemed to sort of get to a point and then carry that story through as it was telling the story, just around some of those, the people I mentioned before, like the wizard, the warrior, and the blacksmith and whatnot. Whereas the first volume, it really did skip. It's sort of like you had one character and then it jumped to another character and then it jumped back to the first character. But because of the way that the panels were done, they're done in like an abstract watercolor type thing. It looks fucking incredible, but some of the characters sort of blend and look very similar. So unless they are distinctly different, there's elements where it kind of blended, which made it seem a little more jumpy. Now, when I went back and had a look of some of the descriptions of the poems that went into it, because of what they were generally bout, I understood why it felt like it was jumping around for me, because they sort of start with like a creation piece and then it jumps straight into like the next character, then the next character, then the next character, and gives them all like a backstory, but it just jumps so quickly. I think if the novel had have actually said, right, this is the creation, and then the next one was like, this is Vainamoinen, and then this is Ilmarinen. If it did that, it kind of broke the panels out so that you could follow it a little bit better, in my opinion. But all that being said, the story as a whole was really cool. You can see where some of those things were taken from the likes of J.R. Tolkien, like the wizardry, the real mythical element to that place and the fantasy and whatnot. And the artistry, like I said before, it's like that watercolor type abstracty piece. It was really, really awesome. And what I found is, because it was jumping a little bit, or I felt like I was jumping a little bit, I would stop more to actually absorb what was going on in the panels, and you'd find different little bits and pieces within it. You're like, oh yeah, cool, sweet, and whatnot. It was really, really interesting artistry, which I quite enjoyed. One thing that I will say is you'll probably love it, AJ, because there are cartoon dicks.
Dicks are funny.
There's one, I can't remember if it was the end of volume 1 or into volume 2. There's more or less a party of some sort. I can't remember what the party was. It might have been like the ending of a wedding or something like that. And one of the guests is being a little bit doing the wrong thing, so to speak. However, a blacksmith, or not the blacksmith, sorry, one of the other characters, it comes through sort of beating his chest saying, I wasn't invited to this wedding, I should have been invited, what the fuck's going on? And then you find that a couple panels later he's pulling someone along by his dick because he's done the wrong thing. You're like, well, I didn't see that happening. But again, like, I didn't see it the first time I looked at the panel, because it just looked like someone dragging someone behind them. But then because I felt it jumped a bit, I went back and started looking through the panels. I'm like, oh, okay, they're naked. He's naked too. He's getting dragged by his dick. Okay, I did not see that before. So it was a good read. It was really interesting. I am going to actually go back and try and read some of the poems. I'm not a poem guy at all. I'm going to have a read and see if they sort of have a little bit more interest as the way they tell the story and whatnot. But yeah, I recommend going out and giving a look. It's the Kalevala. It's this version was by Sami McKonan.
Who releases it?
I didn't actually see who it was released by. I just seen that it was written by Sami McKonan. He's well known. He's also an artist. Did a lot of that type of thing. This was just on like Amazon that you can pick it up. So yeah, go out, have a look, recommend it. Really awesome artistry. The story is pretty cool as well.
Cool.
I like it. So it is, who's it by? Ablaze Publishing.
Okay.
Is who it is by. So whilst we're in comics, I thought, just because I've been doing a fair bit of reading of manga lately, or mangaku apparently as it's called.
Don't upset the nerds.
I don't know. I was watching some YouTube videos and they're all like, mangaka. I'm like, it's fucking manga.
Don't upset the nerds.
Yeah, fuck you nerds. Yeah. So I thought I'd just go through, and I found a couple of lists online of recommended manga to sort of start with. So I thought I'd do this one is from Game Rant, and it is their top 10 recommended sort of beginner manga.
Yeah.
So some of these you may know, some of you may not. One Piece is their number 10.
Yeah, makes sense.
I've read, which arc did I get up to? I think just before the Alabasta arc, I think I got up to in the manga, and I kind of went.
So the start.
Yeah, I've watched the anime. I don't need to fucking read this.
See, the One Piece, I'm just because they're on hiatus and it is starting to take a long time for the anime to catch up. I think I might read the manga just because I want to know what happens.
I've got all the digital files.
But I'm so close. Like I've watched it all so far without it. I don't know if I want to. I'm close.
Their number 9 is Naruto.
Yeah, again, not bad. Like, and that's one where the anime's finished as well for the most part.
Or is it because it's into Boruto now?
Yeah, they're into Boruto, and there's talks that they're going to release like another version of Naruto, like Naruto Part 3, effectively.
Okay. So that's their number 9. I've never watched or read that. I have no real interest to. Only thing I know about it is you put your arms behind your back and run.
Everyone does it now.
Yep. Even my child doesn't. I don't know. He has no idea what Naruto is. Number 8, Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a classic.
Naturally.
It's phenomenal.
Tell you what,
Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z?
Dragon Ball.
Okay.
Tell you what, Dragon Ball Daima is
It's about to finish.
It's popping off with.
Well,
with
it's
a lot
about
of
to
stuff.
finish.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet. So.
It got a slow start, and then there was a few episodes in there where everyone just fucking lost their mind.
So by
Because
finish,
the fucking
is it,
Super Saiyans have gone fucking mental.
Yeah.
by finish, is it finished completely
Yeah.
or just?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Because I believe Toriyama.
It's his last one.
He wrote it
Yeah.
before he passed away.
Yeah.
And so when he passed away, they were kind of just like,
Yeah. Yeah, so probably the big thing that everyone's losing their mind about is the Super Saiyan
Saiyan 4.
version 4 that's come
Yeah.
in, because previously it was part of GT, so it wasn't like canon
wasn't
within this
canon.
universe, but now that it's come in, it's canon within that universe. So yeah, people losing their mind.
number 7, One Punch Man.
Yeah, we
Short.
talked about this in the
One punch, it's over.
Yeah.
in our overrated
Yeah.
discussion a few months back, and yeah, like I've got mates that really enjoy it. I've got mates that think it's a bit mild.
I've never read the manga. I've watched some of the anime, but I learnt the other day that the dude who wrote it, it was just a web published manga.
Yeah.
He wasn't an official manga. It was like horribly drawn and all that kind of stuff, and it was adapted to anime. Like they started adapting it to anime before they readapted the manga from his web digital version, which I thought was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Then we've got number 6, My Hero Academia, which, phenomenal. I've actually read some of the manga. The manga's good. The anime's good.
I've actually only just started watching this. I'm only a few episodes
It's
in.
brilliant.
It's good. And so the good thing about it, there's not a lot of filler, and even some of the parts that you think are filler actually turn out to be important later on down in the series. So it's good.
Yeah, okay.
Number 5, Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
So there are, for those of you who have watched the animes, there's 2 versions. There's Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is closer to the manga than Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, because this is another one where the anime caught up to the manga and
and
they went off on
just
their
went
own.
off and finished it. And the ending to it, the movie that they ended on was fucking horrible. The Brotherhood was so much better. And the manga, I've read like maybe the first 4 volumes of it. It's fucking quality.
It's just Brotherhood's just come out on Netflix too, so it's a lot more accessible for the average person.
Nice.
Number 4, Bleach.
Yeah, Bleach is one where I'm up to date with the sequel series at the moment, and it's one that I put in my overrated category when we did it, just because I think it's not as good as what some people say. But I think the manga is definitely, from what I've heard, is really, really good.
See, I've only ever watched the live action adaptation on Netflix, and I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I wish they made a sequel to it. They never did. I just thought it was really, really
I need to
good.
go back and rewatch it because I haven't watched it in years.
Yeah, neither have I. Actually kind of want to rewatch it now as well. But I know you've watched it because we talked about it on the podcast.
I was about to say, have I watched it or not?
Yeah, you have. Number 3, Death Note. We talked about this last week. The manga apparently is very different to the anime. So I've got it. We'll read it at some point. So I look forward to that.
Yeah, this show.
Number 2, Demon Slayer.
Yeah, I can imagine that being up there just because of the popularity of the anime being so mainstream.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, it's great, and it's interesting that they're ending the anime with a series of movies, not another series.
Well, I think they've had a lot of success with the movies in Japan.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they're kind of going
it was interesting when after the first season they had the Mugen Train. I can't remember what it was called, but there was
Train, whatever it is.
And that became canon. I think that because that was so successful in the Western culture, I think they've followed
I
through
think
with it.
the big thing as well is because they're making a movie, it only has to be an hour and a half long or whatever it is. So they're not having to make, 20 episodes or however long a season is. So therefore they get more money to put into that one movie, and therefore the quality's better.
But I think they're planning on releasing 3 movies to tell it. So but yeah, I said it's another brilliant one to watch.
And then number 1, Attack on Titan.
Yeah, I haven't read it, and I need to finish watching the anime.
I lost interest in the anime about halfway through.
Brock, you liked it,
and then
didn't
I
you?
tried to start watching it again, but I just
It lost itself when
they swapped studios.
They probably about that time, yeah.
I think that's like the last 2 seasons is a different studio.
When Aaron ended up on the new
island, in the other continent,
the other continent,
that's when the other studio took over.
That from there, sort of like up to there, it was brilliant, and then from there, you could tell that like somebody had an idea and.
Just
nobody said no to him.
Well, that's I know from watching YouTube videos that's how the manga goes.
Yeah,
so it's pretty accurate to the manga.
Okay, it'd be interesting to see how the manga translates then.
Yeah, so
because the the anime, like, it's good. I'm glad I watched it, got to the end. I was like, okay, sweet. Like, the ending is really good and really sweet and whatnot. But it definitely lost itself.
Yeah. I think it's definitely one that's on my to watch list only because like I enjoy the multiple seasons and like the longer watch anime. So it's definitely one I'll be watching soon.
And one interesting thing about that I recently discovered, and I was just trying to look up the song, but I can't find it. Bruno Mars. So he wrote a song fairly recently, which was about his more or less emotional attachment and distraught for the ending of Attack on Titan. So no, like in how invested he was into it and how much he loved it, and he told the story of like that ending with Eren in Misaka. What's her name? It's something like that.
Misaku?
Something like that. Anyways, but he told like the story about how, and you listen back to the lyrics and touch on with what it is. It's like, oh yeah, him going back. This is our final goodbye, and even though I've said goodbye to you before, and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And you listen to it and you play it over, and you're just like, oh fuck, it is too.
Because I know,
it was.
I know. Speaking of songs that are based on anime, Ed Sheeran's got that. One of his songs is about a Pokemon. Oh, yes. One of his more recent songs is about Pokemon.
Oh, that's gold.
And then just quickly jump into another just quick top 10. This one's from CBR. This site can be hit and miss with their rumors and shit, but this is just a list of their best mangas ever. So like your must-read mangas.
Just quickly, sorry. It was Die with a Smile.
Okay. That sounds accurate. So they're must-read mangas. So this their number 10 must-read is One Piece.
I wonder if that's like lower on a lot of people's list only because of the length of it.
It's possible because
it's very long.
I'm pretty sure
it's still going.
Fairy Tail, I think, are two of the longest running mangas in history from memory.
Fairy Tail. I know anime-wise, Fairy Tail is up to the sequel series, the 100 Years Quest.
Yeah.
See, I know me personally, I'm not going to start One Piece because I know how long it goes for. Like I'm just not.
And
going
that's what I think.
But I mean, if you're reading the manga, you could probably read 2 to 3 volumes in an hour, 2 hours.
Yeah, but it's also one of those things where you can read the 2 or 3 volumes in that period of time, but it's just like
it's still a lot of volumes.
Still
to get through.
got another 682 volumes to get through.
Well, I've got.
Like, I don't know what the actual numbers are.
Well, I'm up to 108 or something like that.
Right.
In digital versions of them.
Yeah.
So. And that's only the Alabasta, right?
No.
I'm
not sure. I'm pretty sure that's even past the time skip.
Yeah, I was going to say, if that's only Alabasta, it's 600 small.
And then their number 9, Full Metal Alchemist, which we touched on before. Their number 8, Dragon Ball. So a lot of the beginner ones are the must reads.
Yeah, but and again, I think that's probably because of the length of them. Like Dragon Ball, I know if you Dragon Ball not necessarily be the longest one, but like it follows into Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball and Super and things like that.
The beauty of those that people probably don't realize is that they are their own thing first. So you can read it and just have that. And
that's it. Like I got introduced to it in the Dragon Ball Z, like I guess most of my generation would have. And like I didn't realize it was much before Dragon Ball Z. So
and a lot of things that most people don't realize about Dragon Ball / Dragon Ball Z is that Goku is based on the Monkey King.
Yes.
Who is a la Monkey Magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's based on that, and like Oolong, the pig is the baddie kind of pig that's in, he's like friend pig that's in Monkey, and and Piccolo's the evil. What is it in Monkey Magic? I can't remember, but Piccolo is like the evil villain. Blah blah blah. Yeah, so it's all based on that. The number 7 must read is Berserk, which I haven't read, but I've heard a lot of good stuff about it.
I've heard the anime is quite good as well. So.
I've only heard good things, and it's one of those things where I'm like, oh, I've got to fucking get one of those, and then I forget about it, and then I stumble across, like, oh, I've got to get one of those, and I just keep going through that.
It's one that often pops up when I'm like midway through another show. I'm like, I'll add that to it, and then I finish the show and I watch something else.
So it's Guts, a wandering mercenary, joins the band of Hawk after being defeated in a duel with Griff, the group's leader and founder. Together, they dominate every battle, but something menacing is on its way. Great, cool. Number 6, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. This is I've never read it because I've never been able to get into the anime.
Yeah, it's one that like my mate Sam recommended, but like also recommended that it's probably one that I wouldn't enjoy as much, knowing as he knows my sort of taste in anime.
But it's also like an anthology-ish series where each season is a different thing, but it's all the same. It's like the descendants of the characters before. But yeah, I just couldn't get into it. But number 5, Fire Punch. Never heard of it.
Never heard of that one.
Fire Punch is one of author Tatsuki Fujimoto's most notable. I know that name. Oh, the guy who did Chainsaw Man.
Yeah.
Then you've got number 4, Wotokoi. Love is hard for Otoku. So I guess that's a sort of slice of lifey style one. Then number 3 is all you need is kill is brutal. All you need is kill, it's called. Yeah. Kenji finds himself in a time loop, his only chance to turn a massacre into a battlefield victory with his meta knowledge and renewed training. So it's like is this the one that they based Edge of Tomorrow on?
I don't know. You're telling me.
Yeah, this is your story, mate.
I know. I'm pretty sure Edge of Tomorrow is based on on a manga.
I'm not surprised.
So it may be that one that it's based on.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, there you go. Alice in Borderlands.
Yeah, okay.
I haven't read it. I fucking love the TV show. So I'm probably going to have to get it. Have you watched the TV show on Netflix? Dude, watch it. Do yourself a favor. New season's coming out.
It's meant to be the final season too, isn't it? I think they said it was.
So, yeah. But it's fucking amazing. It's basically these 3 guys get chased into a toilet at Shibuya Crossing. And when they come out, everyone, like something rumbles and they come out and everything's gone. There's like just no one around anymore. It's just a desolate city.
So Munich on a Sunday.
And then they walk around and they find these phones in this thing and then they get in there and it turns into like games and essentially the games will kill them.
Oh, I think you've told me about this
and
before.
They've got to try and get cards and they don't find out why, but there's no picture cards and stuff. And it's a really good show. Yeah. Really good show.
Animated or live action?
Live action.
Okay.
So I reckon that manga would be fucking sick.
Live action, watch it. I watch it subbed.
And then number 1...
foreign.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Planetes, fanatical science fiction series like Gundam and Cowboy Bebop are always delight to watch, but if fans want to try sci-fi that's more grounded and realistic, then the Planetes manga is a great pick. So there you go.
Okay.
So there's 2 lists of manga. Just thought I'd sort of bring them in just because I've been reading some mangas and
One Piece, it's great.
Yeah, One Piece on all the lists.
I'm keen for the second season of the live action, which should be coming out soon, hopefully.
I think it's
finished post production.
End of the year, I believe.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Well, on to what do you want? Do we want to jump into the superhero thing?
Sure.
All right, I'll lead this because it's my question.
Yeah, you go for it, sir.
Obviously, Brock and AJ have pushed me and guided me into the world of comics.
There was no pushing.
No, it was just it was thrown head first. But yeah, so you see online all these lists of like the ideal, or I see, build your ideal soccer player and things like that. So I thought I'd throw the boys the ideal version of a superhero, whether it be choose your favorite Batman storyline and Batman villain and things like that to create your ultimate Batman sort of comic.
So before we start, I did see this, I seen this thing sort of posted, and it was a little video. And it's these 3 guys and a chick, and the 3 guys are like, you know what superpower would you have? And he's like, I'd be super strong. I'd fly. And it cuts to the woman and goes, you guys are all fucking idiots. If I was going to have a power, I would have Mystique's power. Because if I found out my boyfriend was cheating on me, I'd be like, yeah, go down on town on him. I'd be down there and I'd be like going at him. And then all of a sudden I'd turn into his mum. And I'd be... and then I'd be like letting him go me doggy style. And all of a sudden I'd turn into his dad. I'm like, oh, that's a vindictive bitch right there.
Not where I thought this conversation was going to go.
She has had a rough trot. Whoever that is, fucking hell.
But I was like, fair enough. It's Mystique's power is a pretty good fucking power.
Oh, I thought, even when you started, I still thought it was going somewhere else. But okay.
All right, Brock, start us off.
Fuck. So I sort of... I don't know if I've read it wrong, but I'm good at reading that wrong. And I just created my own sort of thing.
Yeah, that's
rather than sort of grabbing at backstories of already built things. I thought, you know what, like obviously because we've read so much, you've already got those ideas and whatnot anyways. But the first item you had was backstory. Now for me, I kind of like the idea of the villain turned hero. Now, I sort of put this, I came from the perspective of this is something or an idea that I would like to read about or see on the screen. I went from that approach. So I quite enjoyed the concept of Sylvester Stallone's movie Samaritan, where there was a hero, or being Samaritan, and a villain named Nemesis, where the hero was killed. Pivotal moment for the villain because they were twin brothers. And
that's right. He takes over the role of
kind of, because they were both reported as dead. There was rumors that Samaritan was still alive, and it sort of ensues from there. So with that being said, I like the idea of a hero and a villain, some sort of fight where the villain wins, kills a hero. On the hero's deathbed, they say to the villain, "It's up to you now. Protect the city from people like you." So that's sort of like the turning point that would set it up for the future. But that would be the crux of the backstory.
Okay. I like that. All right. Well, you want to do like part by part?
Yeah, part by part.
All right. So the backstory for mine is essentially a young boy from a young age. He gets into some form of trouble, like... kids pick on him or something like that.
Meth.
And he gets into meth. The kids picking him and stuff like that. And he does the stereotypical thing of he falls and hits his head and like blood wounds and stuff. But what he hits is actually like a skull of some form of like demon or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of been buried and stuff, and they must have been digging or something, and he's fallen backwards and split his head on that. And his blood is kind of mixed in with the skull, and that'll be how he gets his powers kind of thing. And then it'll be jumping into him at like late 30s kind of stuff where the story would take place.
Yeah, okay.
And he's now, due to his powers, which we will be getting to next, due to his powers, he's now like a raging alcoholic to cure the depression kind of stuff. Very John Constantine.
Yeah, okay.
Cool.
Sweet. So next one was powers and abilities. Now, everyone knows that I love Batman. So I like the idea that there's no powers in a traditional sense. I think to play in the backstory and with a villainous background, a typical thread is that their power goes to their head. So I thought that it would ultimately be intellect. Is their superpower, but little, not necessarily just that they're super smart, but they are super smart, but they apply it a little bit differently. So the power of intellect, full access to the brain, because like nowadays, what do they say? We only got access to like 10% of our brain or something.
That's all bullshit. Yeah.
Whatever. I've read all those threads. So playing on that, like that trope, then they've got full access.
Yep.
Super smart. They became limited in the ability to exceed further without a bigger brain or a way to store more data, so to speak.
Doesn't kill people and eat their brains.
No. So experimenting on themselves, they made a chip that her brain allows to access backup servers.
Oh, yours is female.
Also, yes.
Sorry.
That she's also created.
Yeah.
And then with that chip, like it's not necessarily that you've got access to the internet, so therefore you've got access to everything. It's actually like a single point type thing where the chip gives you access to what her servers are. And then she breaks out those servers in some way, shape, or form.
So she's essentially got ChatGPT in her head.
Kind of.
Yeah. Cool.
Kind of. But it's not internet based.
Yeah, but it's like a collection of data that she can have access to.
It's a collection of data that she can have access to. However, it's also data that she has to learn. So it's not the traditional sense of right now upload.
So it's kind of like she reads
Matrix.
It's literally making her brain.
So she could read a book effectively and then download when she's read it. She could download that knowledge onto the chip into the server.
Yeah. It's like because
so she actually has to go out and read books and experience things to learn.
Exactly. So
and then it just stores the information.
Correct. So it is literally storing because you're
her mind palace.
Yes.
There's actually that's shown in an episode of Stargate where basically because kids are like. Their brains absorb knowledge super well. Like they actually have these sort of kids with nanites in their brains that go out, learn all these things and do all the learning, and then they download the nanites from the kids and spread it around through everyone.
This could be one of the things in a future episodes. She may need to learn a whole heap of information, and so she goes and injects a whole heap of different people, and their learning goes into her brain.
There you go. And one thing, because with the intellect and whatnot, she was able to also get the previous hero's consciousness, which she now has within a server somewhere. So a firewalled component where she can't get free, but she can still talk to the previous hero.
Okay.
So there's an interaction piece there.
I like that. So my power of my guy is essentially from when the accident happened, anytime he makes contact with his hands, skin to whatever he touches. So it can be wood, it can be a person, it can be anything. He absorbs the memories of that thing.
Okay.
And this essentially throughout his life as he grows up sends him into hardcore depressions because he obviously sees, he might see happy thoughts of people having their first romantic encounter on a bench or something, but then also touches
a tree,
people get murdered,
sees a chainsaw,
stuff like that. And so obviously, so he's heavily into drugs and stuff like that, and alcohol throughout his life. But also later on in his life, he discovers that he can actually pass on those memories. So when he touches someone, he can actually inject memories into someone's mind.
Okay.
So essentially, if he's fighting someone, he could be like, "I've seen someone murdered," and touch someone on the head and injects those memories into that person's head.
Right.
And can kind of essentially eject them from his brain and overload other people's brains with horrible memories or nice memories. So if he, like, let's say he captures a dude who's raping a girl or something like that, and he can kind of help her forget the situation by injecting happy memories and stuff like that. Or someone who's seen someone murdered, he can make them sort of not forget it, but just give them happier memories to semi-override that.
What I kind of like as a concept is, because they're memories, like you can sometimes retain memories of dreams. So if you're fighting a group of people and they have dreams about because within criminal organizations, you always want to overthrow the next guy. So you can also almost make it like a future type thing.
Yeah.
It's not the future. It's somebody else's dream. But where'd you get them? I'm giving you their memory of you being killed, even though it's... And then... You know what I mean? I think that'd be kind of trippy as fuck, but...
That could be kind of a... he learns as it goes on. He learns new ways to twist the power and stuff, so he can absorb dreams, and that'd be cool. I really like that.
Actually, he can frame how they are interpreted by the person.
He can learn to novelize the stuff.
Yep.
All right. So we're on to costume and aesthetic.
So for hidden identity, she has built an armor of sorts, so molded to her body. However, it shows the form of a male, so complete. Able to be as hidden as possible.
Okay.
I think to keep it simple, for me, I was reading comics at the time and I thought, you know what, Nightwing looks pretty cool. Black and grey hues, just keep it nice and simple along those lines. I thought that it still need to be a full face mask because she had feminine features and whatnot. So I don't know where that would sort of be because it needs to be on the cusp of not completely intimidating, but also, so I wasn't too sure with the mask, but it'd be a full cover of sorts.
I do how practical that would be in real world, I don't know, but I do like the kind of Green Arrow-esque eyepiece, a la Nightwing as well, how it's just the single eyepiece kind of thing, but you could possibly do that, but it has fake...
Oh, you could go facial
feature kind of
thing.
Well,
she's clever enough. You could go Mission Impossible type shit and just have the you could do that type of stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you're trying to hide her identity as being a female in a male suit sort of thing, I think you kind of need to go something more full facey just to help accentuate that
That's what I was
help to hide that identity that little bit further.
Anyways,
so my dude is pretty much dressed like John Constantine because that's who this character is very heavily modeled after.
I nearly fucking said that as well.
It's very much who the character is modeled after. I love John Constantine, the comic book Constantine, and this dude is very much like that, but he obviously wears gloves, which are a major part of him not going insane.
Yep.
But this guy also wears kind of, it's like a Baron Zemo-esque mask, kind of like the comic book Baron Zemo. It's kind of that Rorschach.
That was the other thing I was thinking. What if it went for like a Rorschach type appearance? Because I think that's a sick mask.
But it's not the Rorschach test thing, but it's kind of the way I thought of it is to go along with his powers. It's more a mirror kind of thing.
So it's Rorschach, but a mirror.
Kind of, but
like
it's
whoever looks at it is seeing their face, so to speak.
Like it's just a mask normally, but when he uses his powers, it can kind of reflect the horror kind of situation.
So, like for me, I was focusing more on his gloves. Would his gloves have like some like electromagnetic ability to it, where obviously they're normal gloves, but when he activates them, he can still then use his powers through the gloves?
I think it's more he just takes his gloves off because it's kind of it might be like a rock, the rock situation where he takes his fucking thing off to do the rock bottom. It's kind of like the one finger at a time, kind of, just grumpy, fucking overgrown facial hair. You're going to get fucked up, motherfucker, kind of thing. But that also helps with that noir kind of theming that I would do of, like, when he's investigating things, he's got to take his gloves off and hand trembles and touches things and stuff like that.
Okay.
Moral code and philosophy.
Skewed. The reason I said that is because she was previously a villain. Now she's the hero. So obviously with that, there would be, I think in some of the earlier arcs or earlier stories, some of the people she comes up against, she kills them. And just because she gets carried away, hey, you're the guy I'm up against or the person I'm up against, and then ends with killing. And then like as she does it, she kind of like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. But then as it progresses, it goes from, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that to fuck, like I really didn't mean to do that and I didn't want to do that. Like, so she starts to become more the hero as time progresses. Over time gets better. Due to her past, she'll always have slip-ups in some way, shape or form. So as she gets pushed to the brink by whatever villain she's up against, she still gets those tendencies to potentially kill. So I think, a skewed moral code.
Okay, so my moral code. So I'm gonna have to merge this with villain arc, which is our next one as well, because it kind of all merges in. So the moral code for my dude is he doesn't give a fuck at all. Like he's just so much shit in his head of good and bad and all that kind of stuff. He doesn't care. But as he kind of goes on, he starts to lean more towards being more and more vengeful and evil, and this is the demon where he got his powers from when he was young, kind of starting to take over and influence him, and that's kind of he's going like that. But then when the villain comes in, and the villain will be the Court of Light, who are in essence angels placed on Earth, and they will. Their job is to destroy demons kind of thing. And because they see him as a demon, they're constantly going after him. Okay. But he kind of, whenever he touches one of them and sort of absorbs their essence and their memories and stuff like that, they're fucking horrible things. Like all they do is just kill humans and all that kind of, they're not good in the slightest bit.
As soon as you said angels, there's that anime or animated series on Prime, the Devil's Daughter Hotel, whatever it's called.
Oh, Has Been Hotel.
Yeah, that's what the angels in that sort of thing is like. They're literally just there to go down and purge the
It's very much. I got this part from Supernatural with the angels and Supernatural. They're fuckwits, but they don't have vessels or anything like this. The angels are physical angels that are on Earth, and they're just murderous assholes kind of thing. And eventually, he kind of has to face off against one of the big ones, and I would probably pick Gabriel because Gabriel's the hand of God. And at some point, I reckon God would come into it, but towards the end of it, like the end of the arcs and stuff, you would find out that they're not actually angels. And this is also stolen from the concept of in one of the games we're working on, is angels and devils aren't actually heaven and hell. They're parallel universes that we kind of get glimpses into and perceive them as this because they have powers and stuff. So we actually eventually learn that my dude's got his powers from another reality, and that's kind of, and it will turn into like he has to save the universe kind of thing.
Sure. Okay. Cool. So next one is villain arc.
I merged a lot there. Huh? I merged a lot of things there.
That's all good. I noticed as I went along, some of them start to merge as well. So for me, obviously, a rogues gallery of some coined. Let me know what accent that was, people, and I apologize for it. I like the idea of the boys where superheroes are almost a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
However, it just varies in their abilities. So several different arcs, both big and small, with different sort of protagonists, so to speak, antagonists, I mean. So it'll all lead to a big person pulling the strings. I think there'd be like a cool arc where the big bad pulling the strings of several strong heroes, strong villains, to overcome her, and in doing so discovers the hero backup and is able to corrupt the backup, which then leads into another arc. When I say the hero's backup, I mean from the previous hero, how she's got that backup stored, so discovers that, and then it can go in like a bunch of different type of things. But rogue gallery, big bad pulling the strings, nice and simple in that regard.
Allies and mentors. Well, I'll go since I've changed the order.
Yep.
Allies and mentors. So my dude doesn't really have a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of just him slowly learning how to use his powers when he's young and stuff.
I think his mentor could be the demon.
It could be in his head.
That
kind of thing, because he's absorbed the memories.
Sort of thing,
He's absorbed the memories of it. That's true. It could.
And I guess that way then too, if that's the case, you can then have future, like the demon eventually could take over at points and project more of his powers.
It's very Witchbladey, so I do like that, because Witcher is one of my favorite comics. And allies, he'll have a couple of allies, but the main ally will be a female character. Mm-hmm. With who he eventually in the first arc he'll meet, and then second arc he'll fall in love with, kind of thing. But he will learn as it goes on that she is one of three, and everyone has a doppelganger, essentially an angel version, a human version, and a demon version.
Oh yeah,
and eventually, like, one of the big baddies will be her female, her angel version, kind of thing, and it has to lead to her having to join with the demon version, which will that's kind of that premise. But then that's also down the line, we realize that he's actually got stolen his powers from his demon version, kind of thing. So the demon in his head is him.
I was waiting for you to say too that she would have the power that like just meant he couldn't read her thoughts as well. Like that's why
it's highly possible.
That's why they would sort of end up being connected.
You say that.
The one he falls in love with is actually the first one will be the angel version.
Yeah.
And the way I was thinking is the angel version has killed the earth version of her. And then so kind of he has to bring in, so he falls in love with that one and eventually finds out she's an angel, she doesn't want to kill people, blah blah blah.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to go with, like with the whole angel thing, was that one of his friends or allies eventually would be like a former angel that was like rejecting that new or their ethos sort of thing and coming to live
the way I kind of wanted to do it was that she's the angel, she comes to kill him, and eventually she's like, no, I can't do it, and falls in love with him, kind of thing. So they kind of form that alter ego duo kind of situation, and then eventually something would happen that makes her have to sort of combine with the demon version, and it would change her into a new thing and give her a new power set, kind of stuff. And maybe that's what he might have to do at the end, or something, I don't know.
Cool.
And then there'd be a cop, because there's always a cop.
Oh, naturally. So mentors will be the hero backup. And they'll also have flashbacks to her villain mentor, maybe a deranged father or mother figure of some kind who can be held at the prison for a superpowered person. So, the mentor growing up, hence the reason she became a villain. I like the idea of twisted.
And they go and have the visits.
The visits at some point in time, and then like
Did you say the mum or?
I said either a father or mother figure. I think it would play in better with the mother figure. follow in mother's footsteps type
And
thing.
was Mum Mum was a villain?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, so Mum was a villain, hence the reason she followed in mother's footsteps to be the villain. But then
I was going to say, in that line, is the former hero also like her brother then, and that's why like she's taking on her brother's thing, and that's why like you
could possibly do that,
because that's why like she'd be allowed to then go and visit the mother sort of thing.
I suppose that would be a good point for as to why she followed it,
because as I said, like she was in her younger days, she was killing and things like that, and maybe did like one of the things she did end up leading to the death of her brother, and that's why she took over that role again, similar to the Stallone movie.
But that's what I mean. Like, she was responsible for the death of that hero.
Yeah.
Like, ultimately she was responsible. Now she's got to take up the mantle. I wanted to steer away from it being relation.
If you wanted to go that route, instead of making a relation, I would make it the husband of her sister.
Yeah,
was the hero that she killed, but she killed him without knowing who he was.
Yeah,
and then sort of found out she never dated her sister, and her sister maybe committed suicide.
Yeah, I like that idea. I like that idea because maybe it was like an adopted sister.
Yeah.
Or something.
Well, then instead of the sister committing suicide, like eventually the sister finds out, and then the sister turns into a future villain that then they have to fight.
Yeah, that could be a kind of a Flashpoint Joker situation.
Yeah, exactly. And then from an ally's perspective, it'll just be very team ups and whatnot, because she'll be someone who works alone, can barely work on the right side of the law. Therefore, it's difficult for her to play nice with others.
Okay. Setting and world, we both kind of touched on this, really. So basically, mine would take place on Earth as we know it.
Yep.
But it's kind of a in the shadows situation that people don't really see. And as we eventually find out as we go through the arcs, is that our Earth is just one of many multiverse kind of situation of 3 universes, one demonic, one angelic kind of situation. But to them, they're not angels; they're just powered people, kind of thing.
But I'm assuming the angelic universe would know about the other 2, and that's why like they're down trying to kill the demons. And
I would say that it's kind of a situation of like there's rifts in the sort of different parts of the world, and kind of that's where we, as a normal Earth, see things like the Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot and all those kinds of things, like ghosts. Ghosts are actually shimmers of someone that's in that exact spot in one of the other universes, kind of thing, and just stuff like that.
However, because the angels and demons are powered, they're able to travel through.
Yeah, so they can get through the rifts and stuff like that, is the way I kind of see it. And it's very a noir feeling comic would be the idea. It's a very depressing comic.
See, I could see your comic also sort of being black and white for the most part, but like when he's when he's injecting those memories, that's when you get the color.
That would be cool.
Ooh,
cool. I really like that.
That's
I do like that. That's cool. But it'd be very depressing, Sin City-esque. So like that tone. And like a lot of the times, I don't want you to like him, kind of thing. Like he's a fuckwit.
Well, you can kind of get that because he probably doesn't like himself either, because he doesn't really know who he himself is.
And then as it goes on, you'll start to like him more when the female angel sort of starts bringing light into his life and stuff like that.
I like the idea of like it's almost like an opposite twist with what we were talking about the other week with the Penguin, how you'd sort of start rooting for him and then go, oh fuck, he just did that. Like an opposite where like, fuck, I know he's a main character, but fucking, and then he does something, you're like, fuck yeah. So just
and it's kind of like it would start off with everyone knows that these baddies are angels. And like the first few issues would be like angels are the goodies, kind of thing. And then all of a sudden it gets to the point where you're like, oh no,
something will happen.
No, they're baddies. And our guy's actually the goodie.
Okay, so for me, it is in the future. So the idea is that persons left Earth to colonize elsewhere due to Earth generally going to shit. So colonizers return a few hundred years in the future, and they bring with them a mutagen. That mutagen, it gives people superhuman abilities. However, this is dependent on the human DNA strain that was developed by people who stayed on Earth. So the idea is that colonizers left Earth, people were still on Earth. over the few hundred years, the people who were on Earth, they evolved further so that they could adapt and live on Earth whilst it was turning to shit.
I was gonna say, and then obviously, so there'd be people that would have adapted closer to the environment. So you'd have like those people that take on like the rocky sort of.
No, not that sort of stuff. It's just that people have it's like living on Earth. Like as the air becomes more toxic, you become better at breathing the toxic air.
That's more Darwinian evolution.
That's what I meant. Rather than them turning into rock, but they taking on like those personas of like if they're living in those rocky, tougher areas, their body becomes tougher. And not rocks. I'm just using the rocky environment, but like they are able to absorb like that. Becoming miners.
Not as extreme as you're talking.
He's more referencing
today's age.
I can see what he's saying. He's kind of more talking about like in Asian countries with Asians' eyes, they've developed that way due to sun glare over evolutionary periods. And
so it's a little more along those lines, but just not as extreme. Right. So when these colonizers have come back, they more or less they've gone out. They have found a mutagen of some kind, and they have done tests out in space on the Earth, the way that it was turning to shit, and they've found that it will fix the Earth. Hence the reason they're bringing it back. When they bring it back, however, they realize that Earth's kind of doing okay, more or less, and people are still surviving. So like, what the fuck's going on here? Introduce the mutagen anyways. And then the next generation of people are born with powers.
Cool.
So the Earth is starting to get better, so to speak, quote unquote. And then they discover over another generation that people are starting to be born with all these abilities. However, it's not specific. It's just that some people are. Now, I like it to be a good amount of people, but not the majority. So I was thinking like maybe 5-10% of people develop these things like as they're being born. It's still a shit. It's a lot. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like I didn't want it to be 50% because then, well, obviously mayhem would ensue. But 5% is enough within a population that 1 or 2 people can sort of fuck shit up.
Well, even if half the population left to space and left 50% of people, that's still 4 billion people left on Earth. And then over the time that they're gone, that would eventually get back up to 8 billion people.
Exactly.
Kind of thing. So you'd still like 10% of 8 billion people is a lot of fucking people.
Exactly. So it's still a lot of people. So we'll probably say closer to 5%.
Yeah, I'd probably say that, yeah.
But yeah, that's sort of the world building that would go behind it.
All right, arcs. I've already mentioned a lot of stuff that would probably happen in the arcs.
Yes.
So the arcs and the evolution. So basically, I didn't really think too heavily into the arcs kind of stuff, but it would basically be your first arc would be the introductory arc, obviously. Yep. And the main baddie would be like just a couple of angels, and that's where he would meet old love. Yep. Never thought of a name. Let's call it Cassandra. And then he would beat the big one, and that would get the attention of Gabrielle. Yep. Sure. So then the second arc would be Gabrielle fighting the big angels kind of stuff, and that's when we'd also start trickling in some demons. And then that's where the love story part would happen. Yep. And then the third and final arc would probably be like the big battle where he's gotten demon allies, angel allies. Gabrielle's got all these angels, and there's some world-ending event.
Sure,
would be kind of happening. Like he might be trying to merge the angels and the human world to kind of power up the angels to fight the demons, kind of thing, or something like that.
Okay.
But it'd be like kind of big arc, and then just to be a prick, I would tease maybe like a God Lucifer sort of situation right at the end, but never release it.
Sure.
I was sort of coming back a few steps for you, but like as you said, he gets his powers because he falls on a demon skull.
Yeah.
I would say that would be his demon skull, sort of as we alluded to before. That's why then he's able to interact with angels in that specific way, because unintentionally, like if he'd fallen on any other demon skull, it wouldn't have worked, but because he fell on his demon skull, that's what sort of allowed him to go. And that's where you said if season 1 or arc 1 is just mini angel squad, and then the end of arc 2 with Gabrielle, that's when it's revealed that, you know, there are the multiple, like the 3 versions of each other sort of thing, and that's when
the second one that would happen, because that's kind of he's met the chick, he's fallen in love with the chick. The second arc would be something would happen, that's when she would have to fuse with her other self, like a demonic self kind of thing, and then sort of go into. That would sort of help the battle at the end of that one. And then the big battle, he would have to do something infused with his angelic self. Or maybe even Gabriel is actually his angelic self. So he's actually having to fight himself.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Metaphors. Oh, I was going to say, then if you said you wanted your big bad, like God things at the end, like actually, like God is himself, like God and devil are the same person that have split sort of thing. And that split caused Earth.
Oh, I like it. Yeah.
And that then brings
that's real fucking good.
That then brings in why the angels are fighting the demons and Earth is sort of trapped in the middle. Like Earth is the only way, like the angels can't go directly to hell. They've got to go through Earth to get there. And that's why they're traveling the few demons that come up. That's why the angels are coming down to kill the demons.
It could be there used to only be one universe and got the main God guy, whoever it is, whether he be the creator or something, hated the evil in himself. He split himself apart, which split the universe into two universes, and then that sort of the magnetic pull of them wanting to pull back together.
Have you watched
forms Earth?
Have you watched the latest Invincible series? Yeah. So you up to date?
I've read the whole comic book.
No.
I know
what happens. Yeah, okay. So when Mark gets pulled into the future because the Immortal has been left in charge of Earth.
Oh, yep. Yeah, with the annoying twins.
Yeah, with the annoying twins. So it could be something along those lines. Like it's just someone with powers of some descript who is the king of the world and considers himself all-powerful God type thing. And but he's able to split somehow along
and then
those
that kind of ripples back through, and like that happens up here, and our story is actually happening here, kind of thing. Yeah.
But your plot twist has said with him splitting like his evil self away, the evil self is actually the one that's up in heaven still, because they're the ones that deem themselves to be superior over all the other beings, and all the abnormalities and like people's like differences are what gets sent down to hell.
The things that make someone a person, the things that are in hell,
like the differences, all those sorts of things that, like, different, and again, you can bring in different moral things like the different coloured skins and those sorts of things. They're all the ones that are sent down to hell, and that version themselves are sort of set down to hell, and that's where then in the middle you get sort of the mirrored version of both sets in the middle.
Issue 1 coming September 2026.
That's soon. So for me, obviously you need a background story arc, but I think it would sort of start with the fight between the previous hero and who becomes the hero.
I reckon for yours, it would probably be best if it starts into the story, and then the first arc is like flashbacky kind of stuff.
Actually, no, I agree with that. I think that'd be
because it's good to go on. It starts not knowing who they are, kind of thing, and then you slowly learn that they were a baddie.
I think
you'll see her react to situations. You're like, oh, why is she reacting that way? Like that seems an over the top reaction for a small situation,
and you'll see. Yeah, okay. No, I think that'd work heaps better. Underlying arcs where she's uncovering people behind the madness. So as I said before, someone like pulling the strings and whatnot, you'll have that as an underlying thing. Because as I said, it's a rogues gallery, so you can just sort of throw issues and just have an underlying story for it.
You know, it might be nice because the mutagen was introduced, and that's what brought upon the powers and stuff. It can also
that would be an arc of some
have
kind.
you've seen the Serenity movie?
The what?
The Serenity. Firefly.
Yep.
Have that same thing of when they terraform the planets, that thing is what created the Reavers.
Yep.
So that could be like the madness, as you say, could be like a whole heap of baddie kind of things. Not necessarily with powers, just it does different things to it, but that just sends them fucking crazy.
Yep.
And that's because of the mutant.
Like
the
them coming out of the Lazarus pit sort of thing.
Kind of the Reavers sort of thing.
Yeah, like
that way it's still connected to the mutagen.
Yeah.
But also gives it, some of them might have powers, but because they have that same genetic disposition that a hero has. Yeah. But other people, it just might, a la Joker, just send them fucking batshit and they just turn into serial killers and stuff.
Okay. No, I like that. I did think about having an arc where they'd actually return to that colonized world where they found the mutagen. So like an arc to go out and see what the fuck was going on.
Because the other thing you could do is potentially like that that place then comes like they become the big bads because they're coming back to like that mutagen might have actually been a living thing or something, and we've stolen them sort of thing. So like that alien race is coming back to take it back.
Yeah, something along those lines. I think that'd be cool. I think there would be a mother arc, as we spoke about. So Mummy Dearest gets out of jail. That could be an arc in itself.
And as I said, I see, depending on the backstory you have, I see that the mother becoming the mentor, but then like finding out the secret along the lines of thing, and then turning into a villain arc sort of thing.
Exactly. So there's a lot of...
She finds some concentrated mutagen and injects it into herself and becomes like a 18-year-old superpowered version of herself.
Exactly.
And Allah becomes the baddie.
Exactly. Because I think that'd be pretty sweet where there's like a new discovery similar to, again, with the boys and how they introduced the V serum or whatever the fuck it was called. So similar to that, these kids were born with it because they were born because of the mutagen that got applied, et cetera, et cetera. But then the generation previous, like, oh, well, we want some. So then there can be an arc about that being developed, and then
it could also be the consequences if a powered person takes the Gen V, it causes side effects for them because it's too much powers. Then
and that's the thing, like because you'd start off with like the superheroes, they don't need it, so the people previous will apply it, or whoever doesn't have it will take it to try and get powers, and then from that. Like it'll culminate in one of the super ability person taking it, and then
if it was the mother that's in super jail, like something might be going, and like she uses it, gets a hand of it somehow in the prison, and eventually uses it to escape because she needs to go save the daughter, but then that's the consequences later on.
It could be concentrated mutagen, but because people have found it and kind of all that stuff and use it to give themselves powers, these people who didn't have powers, it becomes extinct on Earth. And that's why people have to go to the other planet. So it turns into a black market situation where you have space pirates going to the other planet to get it. And that's why you can, that's why your hero has to go to the other planet or something, or even doesn't even end up just going to space and trying to stop these space pirates kind of situation from bringing the mutagen into Earth, black market mutagen into Earth. Because all it's doing is just fucking people up and turning them mental.
I like that. We've got a lot of writing to do.
Yeah.
September 2026.
And as you said, love both those entries. Completely not the route I thought you were going to take. I wanted this to be like, this is the Batman arc where I like took the Joker from, so you should go read this one for that, and this is the.
Is that what you wanted?
Yeah, I wanted.
We both took that the wrong way.
See, as soon as you said at the start, like this is the thing, I'm like, I fucking have not done that whatsoever, but I'm going to keep running with it.
Yeah, I was like, I wanted like a best of, like this is Batman's best of sort of thing. Like go and read this series for this villain or this series for this sort of. He's like Bruce Wayne, and this one is really cool and. That's what I was going for. Love your own versions. I think there's some great ideas. Happily, we'll read them.
I love the fact that we both thought something completely
That's 100%. I did not read it that way.
That's why I didn't make up my own, because I was like, you guys have read the comics. You guys have the ideas.
Usually it's just me who goes rogue like that. Haha.
Well, I hope you guys at home liked our ideas for Zeros. Next week... Zach, or not next week or the week up, whenever Zach feels up to it, he's going to create his own. And he'll do it then. But up until that point, go onto the socials and all that kind of stuff and tell us which one of our characters you prefer. If you like them both, doesn't really matter. If you actually want to read them, because we will write them and never make them.
And look, as we said, we've got these coming out in September 2026. And the crossover event, September 2027.
Well, I'll give you my reviews
Frantic
anyway.
Comics.
I like your power idea. I think that's really cool. I like your world. I think that's a cool world set up with the rule of three sort of thing with Angel, that, and the split. I think I like that. I like that power, as I said, the hero or villain backstory into the hero, but she's still going to go out and learn and experience things. And I guess you could even take it as far as like fighting styles. Like she goes out and participates in all the different, like learns all the different fighting styles around the world and can then download those things and call upon the right fighting style at the right time.
And that was exactly the idea. It's not just having instant access to it all. You still have to go fucking learn it.
Because I guess I like, the more I think about it too, like the super suit then is not really a super suit so much as she's wearing. It's just the costume, and it's
correct.
And as I said, she's Batman-esque in the sense of she's not great at anything, but like super anything. She's just good at everything, and if she does her research properly, she'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. That's all we've got time for this week. Thank you for listening to this extremely long episode of Frantic Nerdcast.
Oh, look, we like to keep it frantic.
Hey, look, it worked.
If there's anything you want us to talk about, just chuck it on the socials and we'll do it. Please head over to the YouTube, subscribe, Facebook, like, all that kind of stuff. It really, really would help if you could do that for us, guys.
Yep, share it around. Let everybody know. Your friends, your family, your enemies, everybody.
Frantically share it.
Let us know. As I said, we are trying to get back into Frantic's games, so let us know if there's any games you'd like us to do. And I even
Physical, digital, whatever you want.
I even thought maybe it's definitely a hard maybe, but if we find some like online co-op games and things, we can try streaming those and things like that.
My computer will not handle that.
But even if it's like AJ is the one streaming it, but we're on Discord and stuff, like talking through it as we go and things like that. So just an idea we had. So if there's any multiplayer games you want to see us bumble our way through, let us know.
Yep. All right. Thank you very much for watching and listening, guys, and we will see you next time.
See you later.
Hey, guys. Thanks for listening to Frantic Nerdcast.
You can find all our latest news and information on Facebook or at franticnerdcast.com.
You can find us on Instagram at Frantic Nerdcast. Find AJ at Weird Art by AJ. Find Zac at Frantic Kaz and myself at Frantic Brock.
Please make sure to head over to our YouTube channel and subscribe for more YouTube-only content like Sequelize It and Plays Games.